Guys, this may be one of the most touchy topics that I'm going to ever talk about in any of my videos, because I know how much this means to guys out there to really get this handled. And for me, there was the thing that I had to get handled out of anything in my life the most. I know that it is difficult for a man to go through life and not have his dad around. For me, it was super difficult. It was so difficult that I lashed out when I was younger. I wanted to be in gangs. I was always violent. And this was like a period in my life where I had this, and I just didn't have any male father figure around. And my older brother was in prison. Well, at the time he was in high school, but he wasn't really there for me. And I was just going through a lot of shit as far as not knowing what strength means, not knowing what it means to inspire, not knowing what it means to stand up for myself in the right way, not knowing what it means to be able to have confrontation without it being violence at the end of it. I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know what it meant to be a man who knew what he wanted and was going after what he wants, who had clarity. I didn't know any of this shit. I didn't know any of it. My dad wasn't around. So he couldn't teach me anything, because the reason why he wasn't around was because he definitely didn't have his dad around. And as you can see, sometimes it has, as a thing, a streak of behavior between guys in the family. Because if the dad wasn't around, a lot of times his dad wasn't around, and so on and so on. So this whole video is about, as much as you don't want to tune into this part of yourself, it's not about not having a dad at home who wasn't there. It's if your dad was not around for you, if he didn't show you the way. Most guys' dad did not show them the way. They didn't. Most guys' dad did not show them what it meant to be a man who had clarity, a man who was able to stand up for himself, that was able to say no. Most guys never had that around. They always had their mom trying to teach them these male ways. And one of the things that I've learned in my life is iron sharpens iron. Wool sharpens wool. So it's just like, if you have wool trying to sharpen iron, it's not going to work. So that's what it was. When a woman tries to, help her son, or a mom tries to help her son, there's always this disconnect, because she's only giving him the advice from what she knows. And that's what my mom did for me. So my mom was always teaching me love and everything. And none of that helped. So to just stop right here before I get into my own story and how you guys can start to deal with your pain around not having your dad, this whole video is about not just me sharing with you my pain. No, this video is about me helping you understand that I wasn't always like this. I have a back history that was very, very hard with my dad. Very, very difficult, that I'm going to tell you about. And how you can start to heal the pain that you had inside of yourself of not having a dad that was there. Because I didn't have a dad that was there. Maybe you had a dad that was physically there, but he didn't show emotion to you. So you never knew what it was like to have real friends around you like me. Maybe you had a dad that was there who tried to show you things, but he told you sexuality was only useful when it was behind doors. So you got afraid of expressing your sexuality in public, or expressing your desires, because every single time you tried to have a conversation with your dad or your mom tried to have a conversation with you, sexuality was always a thing that they teetered around and never touched on, because they felt that it was kind of weird to talk to you about. Whatever the case is, this whole video is about helping you guys be able to understand your own pain around not having a dad in your life, and how it's showing up in your life when you're out there interacting with others and the connection you have to people. A lot of times it shows up in many ways that you're not even aware of, because you're just running this unconscious pattern within yourself when you meet others. Now, let's really get into my story. My back end story. I came from a household that was purely feminine. It was my mom, she raised us, and my dad was absent. He was mainly gone, he was mainly off to work at times, and as I'm at the house, I had nothing to lean on but what my mom was teaching me. My mom was always teaching me love. She was always teaching me to be soft, always teaching me to, be there for others and care for others. And that was great. I built that inside myself so strong that you can even see it and feel it on me, that I really care. When I'm like talking to you guys, I say, I love you. I say all these things because I'm an incredibly warm and caring dude, because I grew up that way. And my mom taught me into that way, and I love her for teaching me that, because that makes me a really, really caring dude. But with her teaching me that way, I wanted to also learn how to stand up for myself. Me coming from a very, very difficult background as far as like growing up around black people who were very, very violent, it was very difficult for me to really express just all this love my mom was teaching me, and always express it as a way of being. Because every single time I tried to be innocent, it was always slashed down with, be fucking strong, be a man. If somebody talked to you like this, you hit them. It was always this violent way of people doing things that I just really couldn't connect with, because I'm like, you guys and your parents are teaching you these things. My mom's teaching me something totally different. Women and people in the school loved us. They loved us for being this way. They loved us for being this way. But the guys, we never could really truly connect with our friends, and me and all my brothers, we never could really truly connect with our friends and with each other. We loved each other a lot, and we could really connect with each other. But anybody outside our family, we have very difficult time connecting with. Very, very difficult time, because we never know what it was like to have like male intimacy, male connection. We didn't know that. We didn't know what it was like to have a friend there for you. And none of us have childhood friends. Me or any of my brothers, none of us have childhood friends. And this is a pattern that I've seen throughout my family, and I saw it in myself. And I'm thinking to myself, where does that come from? That literally comes from us not having my dad around. My dad was never there, so he never showed us that, you can hug, you can stand up for yourself in this way, and you can really be close to your brothers in this way. Because me and my brothers, although we're very close and we express love to each other, there's still a really hard disconnect when we're in front of each other, really expressing our emotions fully in a very vulnerable way. We can do it better now than before, but growing up, it was very, very difficult, man. It was very difficult. So my family and my way of growing up was like that. And having my dad absent, it was very difficult on me, because I didn't know what it meant to be a strong man. I always wanted to feel that and know that and experience that when I was younger. And I used to try to do manipulative things to others, like try to be strong in certain situations where others could see me and, they could say, hey man, you're strong. And I used to always get them to say strong. And that was the word I was trying to just constantly lingering on. I'm like, say strong. I just want to feel this strength, because I don't feel it. And my dad wasn't around, because at some point he got schizophrenia when I was 8. When he got schizophrenia when I was 8, it really hurt me, because I didn't know my dad anymore. Still up to this day, it's been the most hurtful thing that I had to go through in my entire life. Now this year I've been doing I was doing a lot of crying. I've been doing a lot of crying, and there was one point I had to go in the hills in Budapest, and I had to let go, because I was just like, oh man, it's so much around my dad. Not having him there was a hard thing. And even when he was there, I just really couldn't feel that he was really there with me. And I know that's probably what you guys feel as well, is that your dad was there, but he wasn't really there. Or maybe he wasn't there. But whatever it was, he didn't teach you the things that you now want to know. You now want to embody. He didn't teach you that. I didn't have that same thing either, man. I didn't have a dad that taught me these things as well. And as touchy as this is for me, this is the most touchy subject I can talk about. It is, because I allow myself to be soft and open with you guys. And if I start crying in the middle of this video, it's just because it's such a touchy subject for me. I really love my dad, and I know that the way he is now, I'll have to see him that way all the way through life. And I don't believe he has that many years left. And the way I saw him at 8 years old, I'll never get to see him like that ever again. And that was the most hurtful thing for me. And I had to really let go of wanting that to be what he was now, and he'll never be that. If he was to take his medication again, he could be that, but the truth is that he probably won't, because he has this idea was that he's all good. For you guys, I want you to understand that in going through not having a dad at home when you were younger, that's probably stemming in many parts of your life. Many parts where you actually really don't even notice that it's just that. I have students come on workshop, and they tell me things, and I ask them, I said, what was your relationship like with your dad? And they go, not very good. And I can see why they can't really express themselves. They can't express themselves really because every single time they tried to, they got shut down. Maybe they were able to do it to their mom, but they wanted that with their dad, but they couldn't do it. So now when it comes to expressing, they're like, okay, when I express vulnerability, it gets shut down. That's the pattern that happens. When I express something that's soft and true to me, I get shut down. When I express something that's joyful, I get shut down. And they consistently get that. And as they go through that, they don't want the pain anymore, because as people, we move to pleasure and away from pain. Anything that brings us pain, we don't want to deal with it. We don't. And these things are stemming really far back. And I go, God, man, the reason why you can't walk up to this girl and tell her that she looks lovely or she looks wonderful is because every time you express vulnerability, man, it got shut down. And I really have him sit with what is it like for him to really want to express that and really not be able to. And most of the time he starts crying because he can feel it. He's like, I want to do it, but I'm just so scared because I don't want to get hurt again like I did when I was younger. Like my dad did when I was younger. A lot of times, dads don't know how much their kids are affected by the fact that them not being emotional, not showing them the way, not being able to be strong. That men are really affected by this. And the fact that men are so affected by this, and they're walking through life not knowing why they just can't express themselves or why they can't really be strong and stand up for themselves, is very hurtful for them. It's very, very hurtful. And it was hurtful for me. And what I did is that I try to find the strength, and I try to be manipulative and try to make people see that I'm strong. I like to try to show like a straight face to make it seem like I'm strong. I used to, in many situations, do all kind of stuff, you know, things I can't even really think about right now, but it was all bad. And particularly, I was trying to handle these in many ways that just didn't help me. I was trying to be manipulative in that, trying to get people to say I'm strong way. Then I would try to, you know, have another way of me trying to be strong, and it wouldn't be the thing. And there was a time where it was a big fight that broke out with my brothers and them, and I just was like scared and I locked up, and I was like, fuck, man, I just can't do this. And I've had times in school where, you know, a guy would say stuff to me and I just couldn't stand up for myself because I just wanted to show love. And I was always saying sorry too much because I just didn't want to get into a fight. And I was always just scared. And I'm like, man, I just want to find strength within myself to be able to withstand whatever the world is giving me. And the fact that I felt like I couldn't withstand what the world was giving me, I always was trying to find a way to find strength. I was always trying to find a way. And whatever way that I could, man, I was just like, oh, this is great. I mean, I got into contact with this person told me that I was strong. I want to be around them more so they can tell me that more so I can really feel it. I just wanted to always be in situations where I could see I could stand up for myself. That could be reflected to me. And every time I was around people who I really didn't feel like I could stand up for myself to, sometimes it was my mentor, sometimes it was my brother that I couldn't stand up to, I would actually play really small and I would be scared. And I hated that. I really hated that, but I really played it out. So I was trying to handle it in all these ways that didn't benefit me. And going through that and, you know, meeting James and everything and you know, get around somebody who actually had true strength on the inside, it was amazing for me to finally find somebody that I could just learn what it meant to be strong. I learned, you know, confrontation, how to skillfully deal with confrontation. I learned how to, you know, be somebody that can withstand tension. And the tension, my own tension and my own insecurities, my own boundaries, my own, you know, ways of being, I just had to withstand that. And then, you know, I started getting, you know, following things like David Data, and I started doing these things. And I'm like, where is this strength come from? And then when I finally was like, you know, the truth is that I'm actually already strong. I'm just looking for it so many times outside of myself that I'm actually not appreciating the strength that I already have. And then I took a deep breath and I was like, I'm actually already strong. I've just been searching so much outside of myself that it's actually inside of me. It's already there. And what I was really looking for was immovability in situations where that would scare me. That's what I was really looking for. I was like, man, I just want the strength to be able to withstand this. And then I would be in so much tension. I couldn't do it. And I started understanding that immovability inside is really about being able to sit in the moments where I really don't want to do something and just staying there with it. And as I do that more and more, I build strength to that. And I started noticing that strength came that way. This year, I really got over my pain with my dad. That was the pain that I really had. And, you know, I had to go up in the hills and I really let go, and I was crying very hard. And it was so difficult for me to let it go because I just really wanted him to come back to the same person he was when I was little. But I know that he'll never get that, and my relationship with my dad may never ever come, and I'm totally okay with that. I started to move through this, and I started to sit with the things inside of myself that I'm actually really afraid of facing. And what it was that I was afraid of facing the fact that I may never ever have my dad again in the relationship. That was the hardest thing for me to face. And that's the thing I always wanted. Yeah, I did. I always wanted that. And I remember who he was before and after, and I always wanted that back, and I couldn't get it. So I had to sit in the tension with that. I actually went into meditation. I would have to sit with that, and I had to, remember what that feel like to be with him, what it feels like to not be with him, and I had to sit with it, what it feels like for him not to be there anymore, and I had to just allow it to be there. And I cried, and finally, as it came out of me, I just felt so fragile, and I cried to James as well, and I was telling him I'm sorry for pushing him away as a friend, because I just didn't know what it was like to have friends in my life. And it was so many things that happened with that taught me so much about it. Was back history that was affecting my present moment situations with others, my present moment communication with the people that I was around me, and my relationships. So as I started to see, okay, this is what's happening and this is what's happening, it really started to give me insight into people who don't have their dad there. They need a way out. The way out that I came up with was some of the things I did to be able to overcome my own pain with my dad. And when I actually overcame this pain, my relationships with women started getting better. When I would approach women, it would actually feel more real, because I wasn't holding anything back. I didn't have back history inside of me that was stopping something that was happening between me and a girl. Because sometimes you don't understand that your back history is the thing it's always back history that's stopping, or being in the future, that's stopping what's happening between you and the woman. It's always that. It's always that's coming up. It's always like, oh my God, what if I'm around things to say that's in the future? So or it's all these things that's just constantly affecting what's happening right now in the moment with the woman. So one of the strongest things that's going to affect you is literally your relationship with your dad and how you didn't have it. That's going to be the strongest things. Or with your mom too, but this is mainly about dad. The things I started to do was, I started to go, okay, what are some things that I can do to start to get over this, and really not get over this, but move through it and be able to gain strength from this, and be okay with the fact that, I might not get my relationship with my dad again, and that's fine, but I want to be able to really have a relationship with others, and then one day with my kids, because I do want kids one day. The thing that I started doing was, I started to just map out what are things that I can do to be able to move through this. And the first thing was that my mom was telling me that my dad could take his medication again. And I got this courage inside of me to try to bring that to him, about him taking his medicine again. And it was so weird for him to feel that in the moment. He actually didn't want to feel it at all. He didn't want to face that. And in the moment when I said it, I felt so scared. And I was like, he doesn't even know about his medication. He's so far in his head. He's so far out of this moment that he doesn't know that he has to take medication. So I tried to bring that in some way that was graceful to him, and that got shut down. Then, I tried to just block it out. I tried to block it out completely. I tried to be like, all right, well, that's the thing, that's the way it is. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to, over time, it'll just fade away, and I'll just allow myself to just go for it and understand that. But when I was doing that, I was actually suppressing it. That's probably what you're doing too, is that if you had a bad relationship with your dad and you are having moved through it in a very, very spiritually evolved, skillful way, then you're definitely still under it. You're under it no matter what. I don't care if you're trying to push it away or avoid it, you're still under it. And it's affecting what's happening between you and others. You probably can't connect in the way you want to women or to others because of that. And that's literally maybe the only thing you have to face. So I started going, all right, I'm gonna do that, and then that didn't work. And I noticed that every time I did that, I never got through it, and it would come up at random times. Then, through me sitting in meditation and introspection, this is when it really came the true deal. This is when the real true shit came up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna handle this. I'm gonna really sit in this, because I'm gonna face the thing I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of the fact of letting go of my dad and our connection that we used to have when I was little, because that's the thing I'm holding on to strongly. And so what I did is, I just located where the actual pain was. And all of you, if you really can just look inside right now, if you can really feel into your body and feel into the part of yourself that's really, really like, okay, I love my dad, but I have this pain around him. I'm gonna sit with it, but the pain is definitely there. And you, with your natural breath, you just allow yourself to just sink into it. Even if you have to close your eyes, you just sink into it. And as you sink into it, you notice that something starts to happen. Maybe you start to cry, maybe you start to flush heat, maybe your body radiates and it starts to get vibrations through it. Whatever you notice, you have to actually sit with the thing that you're afraid of. Locate it. Locate it. Even if you have to go, my dad, and just really sit with that pain. And as you sit with it, what you'll notice is it'll start to uproot. And this must be done with a natural breath. You must sit with it in the natural breath, because if you try to breathe into it and control your breath, what will happen is that you'll actually be avoiding the part where you can actually pierce it. You can pierce it with your natural breath, because the natural breath flows with life. So your natural breath allows you to sink into it. And as you sink into it, the feeling, wherever that feeling is, it may manifest somewhere. Maybe you notice it manifests in your throat, where you feel a tension there when you think about your dad and you think about that. Maybe you think about your dad and it manifests in your heart, and your heart starts to become very weary. Maybe you get butterflies in your stomach. Wherever it manifests, maybe it could manifest in your perineum, that's between your ass and your sack. You just sit there. You bring your awareness there. And you allow yourself to just sit in, you allow yourself to just sit in there, wherever it is, and you just focus into that point. And with your natural breath, deeper and deeper, you'll feel yourself, with each breath, sinking into it. But it's in the sinking that it starts to uproot. In that uprooting, you'll notice that it hits a climax in your body. When I actually went and did this, it was so painful. I cried my eyes out, first of all, and then I just really sat with the feeling. And as I'm sitting with it, I just really sit with it, and I just allow myself to just be taken over by it. I'm not trying to avoid it anymore. I'm taken over by the sadness of it. Yes, I feel sad. I am a human being. I can feel whatever I want. I want to feel everything. I don't want to just feel happiness and joy and confidence. And I want to feel everything. So yes, I'm going to sit with this and I'm going to feel that. And maybe you feel sad. And you allow yourself to sit with it. And you sit with it. And I allow myself later on to just sit with the pain of, I might not get that back, and, I just cry. And that's my manifestation a lot of times, is crying. Sometimes my body flush heat. Yours may do something different. Maybe you may get really, really fatigued. You never know what it is. Something will manifest. But you need to allow that manifestation. But your natural breath is how you sink into the pain. Is that the pain starts to uproot, you start to feel that you want to run. Because it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, but it hits a climax and then it leaves. And you finally feel a breath of fresh air. And maybe you feel fragile, you feel open, you feel raw, you feel vulnerable. But you need to move through it. And it takes some time, man, it does. It takes time for you to just allow yourself to just sit there with it. And the healing process, it may take you 2 hours, it may take you a week, it may take you a day, it may take you a month. But you need to allow yourself to just feel through it. And understand that that feeling is not permanent. It will always leave. Anature, rising and passing. It leaves. And for me, man, just being able to do that, that's been the most powerful thing for me, because as I've allowed myself to move through that and really gain strength and really heal from that, my dad, I look at him and he's becoming more leafy and more out of his mind than ever. But I'm still able to open in my heart, and I'm open to him, and I'm not closed down like I used to be. So although I'll never get him back in the way I want to, my heart is still open to him, and I still love him. So I want you to understand that whatever pain that you've went through with your dad, if he's there, if he's still not there, if you see him every once in a while and you want the relationship, be open in your heart, even if he's not opening his heart to you. Even if your dad never taught you strength, he never taught you standing up for yourself, he never taught you skillfully deal with confrontation, he never taught you clarity, even if he never taught you how to go for what you want and stick with it until you get it, forgive him. He only did what he could do best, really. Even if he treated you really fucking bad and he abused you, he only did what he literally thought was okay to do. He only did whatever he was evolved enough to be able to show you. But make sure that for your own kids, if you do want to have kids like I do, that you show them a different way. You show them the way that you wasn't showed. And that's what I'll do for the guys that are for you guys to be able to show you the way. And when I'm older, being able to show younger guys and being able to show my kids. And one day I'll have a son, and I want to show him. So this is a very touchy talk for us to talk about, and it means a lot. And I want you guys to really don't take this lightly. This is one of the things that's probably hurting you with women. This is probably one of the things that's hurting you with connecting with others. Really being open in your heart to others vulnerably. It literally may just be back history of the pain of your dad, and maybe even the pain of your mom. Maybe you didn't get showed love in the way that you wanted to, and it's still affecting you now. Now you can't show love to women, or you can't show appreciation the way you want to because you never was shown that in your life from your dad. You never know what it is. But I challenge you to start to uproot that pain. It's because the women out there, they don't deserve you not giving them your vulnerable self. They don't deserve that. You're giving them parts of you when they deserve all of you. This is Sonny Solo from The Natural Lifestyles, and subscribe below, guys, to Essence of Solo. And if you really want to do coaching with me, and you really want to get your life handled and get your shit handled around women in all aspects. You know me, I actually just don't care about you handling yourself with women. I care about you handling yourself in life, because the way you are with women is the way you are with life. So if you're really ready for the true change on the inside, I'm here in America until January. And after that, I'll be in Australia, and then I'll be back in Europe. But since I'm here, you have the time now to coach with me. We can do Skype coaching. We can do one-on-one coaching. It's up to you. I love you guys. I'm glad I was able to share this with you. I want you to go out there, and I want you to start to change yourself in the way that you need to, so you can start to have the things you want to have energetically with others. See you guys.